Good morning and welcome to today's strategy call. If I can see hands, who has been on a strategy call before? If you can raise your hand for me so I just know who has been on one of these calls before. So just one of you. Normally Brian does the strategy call, so my call might be a little bit different. So with the strategy call, we are really moving you from being able to just give a quote or give the basic information to the client to really starting to work with the strategies of sales when it comes to mortgage. With that being said, the best value prop is that we really want to make you a wealth manager. We want to help you be able to help your clients make decisions based off of their financial goals. So really moving them forward to achieve their goals. And what you're going to end up with is a client for life. 3 essentials in the basic smart mortgage decision. First of all, having options. Number 1, being able to compare different types of loans in a way that's understandable to the client. Number 2, analyzing the total cost over time, and that's where we have that long-term and short-term analysis graphs in the Mortgage Coach total cost analysis. And the last one is to analyze strategies to reduce the debt cost. So this might be paying down your mortgage. This might be placing that money in an investment account. But whatever it is, it's moving that client forward by growing their total net worth. Many loan officers are still handing out that transactional just loan estimate. With Mortgage Coach, we are definitely pushing towards being that black belt and being able to give great advice to the client. So I want you to look at this little graph here, and we're going to ask you in a few minutes on a poll which of these ones are going to be most helpful today in your business. So I will have you guys do a poll. That way I know where you're at, as well as I know which one of these you really want to focus on. Because ultimately what we want to do is we want to move you up to a red belt. So we have lots of people that are at different levels in here. If you've logged into Mortgage Coach, you will be able to see your belt by simply, and I'm just going to pull up my Mortgage Coach account, looking at the right-hand corner when you log in. If you place your mouse, you just float it over there. You can see there, as well as if you go into your settings, you can quickly see which badge you are here. So there is a little pop out here. You can click on that pop out, and it's going to show you exactly where you are. Now we're going to throw in some polls just to first check in with you. If you can let me know which belt you are, and this just has me know or understand how deep I have to go into the presentation. If you need more surface and white belt, that's great. It's not a problem. I'll just go a little deeper dive. But if more of you guys are at that brown belt level, and again, if you guys can just check on that poll and tell me which one of these you are. And I've only have a couple of you who have dropped in your answers. Again, this lets me know how deep I need to go into the explanation or the training. And whichever belt you're at, it doesn't matter. What matters is you get what you need. If you're a white belt, tell me you're a white belt. Tell me you're new, because that's the most important factor. Okay, let's go ahead and end this one, and we're going to go ahead and show you guys. Only 2 of you guys voted. I have more than 2 people on the call. So I really need to know what you need. And let's go into the next poll. If I know how to get there. Actually, let's relaunch poll 1, because I do need more people voting. If you can tell me again which belt you're at, that would be absolutely great. So just by clicking on to vote, if you don't know how to use the vote, then go ahead and place it in the chat box for me. And then which strategy do you want to see? So it looks like we are going to, and I just want to go back up here. Most of you guys are beginners, so I will go a little deeper, and it looks like the refinance, creating star moments along your refinance options. So we will deep dive into a refinance so you guys will be able to understand that deeper. So that does look like what we'll be doing. What you will notice is as I'm doing this, a lot of the information that I give you on that refinance is also going to be applicable to a purchase. So many of the things I show you, you'll be able to do with both a purchase and a refinance. If you have questions anytime during, drop it into that chat box. So I am able to see that chat box going on. Or it is a small enough group, you can also raise your hand. If you know you have a mic, feel free to raise your hand. I can unmute you and we can have a conversation about it. Whenever you start a refinance, you always want to start with new client. The reason why starting with new client is because it's almost like you're already going to have a strategy template if you're working with strategy templates. Because in the assumptions, you're going to place in the current loan information. And that's going to be like your strategy template because we're going to copy from there. So starting with your new client, we're going to use Chad as our example. I'm only using Chad just to make sure he's paying attention. Always place in a phone number. What you will notice is I place in minimal information based off of what I need. So client's name, co-borrower if it's there, and a home phone number. By placing that home phone number, what you're going to get is every time the client opens the presentation, you're going to get an alert. And that alert is going to say, hey, client opened the presentation. Here's their phone number. If you're opening up those alerts on your phone, that phone number is on there. It's a hot link. Simply touch it and you'll call your client without having to look it up. If we were doing a rent versus own, we could change it over here. I'm going to go all the way down to presentation name. This is going to be refi. And I'm going to put that I plan on closing it September 2020. Why do I put in refi September 2020? If my manager wants to keep track of what I'm expecting to close the next month, I can go into my search engine and search the presentation name, Refi September 2020. Any of them I named, Refi September 2020, will pop up. I simply have to count them there and move on. I don't have to go through my pipeline looking at each client and deciding when that person I'm expecting them to close. So just a quick trick for predicting what you're going to close next month. Contact information, place in your property address. If you have any of the programs, Optimal Blue, or you have Closing Corp, or otherwise known as Smart Fees, then having this in here is going to allow it to populate over to those integrations. So this is going to allow it to, and so you don't have to double enter it later on. Next, goals. Any of these top 3 goals or the bottom 3 goals are all related to being able to put in current loan information, therefore refinance. The only one that reacts a little bit different is this pay off my debt. If I was to click pay off my debt and I place $10,000 in here, what it's going to do is it's automatically going to add that $10,000 to the payoff amount. So I don't have to come in and manually do it. I'm going to go ahead and delete that out. To make things simple, when I'm doing a refi, I always click other. I like playing with my own numbers. I like manipulating things myself. So other is what I like to do. For you, you might want to check any of the other boxes. It is totally up to you. Even for a cash out, I just click on other, Camille. I make it really easy, and the reason why is I know how to manipulate my numbers, and I'll show you how I'm doing it in order for you to get the results you want. The only one I fill in on here is current property value, and this is what is the home expected to appraise at. I'm going to say 389. Now, if I do have a loan that has MI that will drop off, so this means it has to be a conventional loan, I can put in what that property value was when they initially got this loan. And that's just to watch the MI drop off. But I never place in my current monthly mortgage payments or my current total payoff amount because I collect them on the next page. And these will override this page. I like to just have everything in one spot, so I collect it here. First payment date. I'm just going to put in a date in there. Now, this might be the hardest thing for loan officers to sometimes find, but this is located in several locations. If you're using HomeBot, it is in HomeBot. If you have pulled credit, look at the date that the credit was put in there. If you have access to title, pull title. There's some other places online where you can simply go and see, even if I looked in Zillow, Zillow's going to tell me how much the loan closed for and when it closed on the last purchase time. So you can easily go in there and see that information as well. So I'm going to put in an original loan amount. Those spots for the original loan amount, they can be found in that same area. So again, you have access. If you haven't asked your title person to have access to be able to pull title, ask them for an account so you can pull title. That is probably the easiest and safest bet. So I'm going to go in there and I'm going to say it was 310. Now I'll place in the interest rate, and that should be on the statement if you have that statement. And now I would go into the term. So what you will notice, once I place this term in there, this remaining balance is going to be automatically calculated. So I'm going to put 365 for a 30-year fixed, and now I have that remaining term. Now, if you have a payoff statement or you have a statement and that information is on the statement, you can easily adjust this simply by highlighting over it and typing right over it, 248. It will not adjust your P&I payment, but now you have the payoff amount. Once I scroll on down, I can check the type of loan, if it's interest only, and if there's a balloon payment on there as well. We're going to move to the next. Place in your actual hazard insurance as well as your actual property address or property tax amount. Now here's another key factor. This is how you can one-up that competition. Let's say we're paying off debt. I can put in credit cards. I can put whatever type of debt it is. I can give it its name, and I can put that monthly payment right in there. It's going to help me be able to show my client that ability to roll that debt quickly into the loan and show how it's going to impact their debt to income ratio. So I can easily place it and show that difference in that payment without a lot of effort if I just place the debt in here. If there was mortgage insurance, you can place that information as well. We do get a lot of questions on that second loan information, and here's my rule of thumb with second loans. If you are subordinating the second, if you're not touching it, I wouldn't place it in this. I would leave it out. But if you are subordinating it, clicking on yes, it has a second, then you can place in the second information and place the type of loan that second is. What it's going to do is it is going to automatically add that second information to the payoff amount. So you'll be able to quickly go in and add that to it in order for you to not have to do all of the calculations. You will, once you copy the loan, need to turn that second off, and that way that second is not being taken into consideration if you're paying it off. Any questions on that second? And I do see that Dave has hopped on the call with me. So Dave, we are doing a refinance, just to let you know, and we're showing some extra little one-ups on a refinance. So if you have any input, you're welcome to chime in.
Well, thank you very much, Tina. Hey, let me just share my screen 1 minute, share like a little 3 minute thing for everybody to consider. This call is all about learning mortgage strategies. And while there are, a dozen mortgage strategies that you need to be a black belt, just a reminder to everybody, a black belt is 300 TCAs. These are all the different strategies that we teach during these Wednesday sessions. And it sounds like you're doing the rate and term refi right now. Is that this one right here?
We're doing how to one up your competition with a refi.
Love it. So important that you know how to use Mortgage Coach to do that, but just take a screenshot of this. These are all the different types of strategies you get into. And if you have questions, let us know. And then one more thing I just wanted to impress on everybody is the definition of a strategy. I mean, this is it. It's got to be 2 or more programs. You've got to show people the cost over different periods of time. And you're always looking for ways to help them pay off their debt faster. So these are the 3 essentials to a smart mortgage decision. So when you look at every strategy that you can learn, there's always going to be options. You're always looking for different windows of time to compare things. That's how you differentiate based off of your advice. And you're always looking for ways of how can my advice help the family reduce their interest and pay off their home faster? Or how can my advice help them save money faster so they're building wealth with real estate? So those are just a couple core principles that you're here for. And I don't know how many of you, this is like your first mortgage strategy session, but every Wednesday we're here to teach you these strategies. So I hand it off to you, Tina, to continue with this one.
Dave, can you just pull up all the strategies again one more time, because someone missed a picture of it?
Yeah, no problem. So take a picture of this. This is the 3 essentials. These are the list of all the strategies. So take a quick picture of that. Also remember this is recorded. And this is the framework. I mean, this is, at the end of the day, this is what success looks like. When you know how to do the advice star in the middle, you understand how to add video, audio, how to use the Mortgage Coach platform, and you know all these strategies, guys, you will have a level of confidence that is unparalleled in the marketplace. You'll just show up more confidently, and you'll be the most valuable loan officer to every family you serve. Hopefully that helps. If you have more questions, let me know. I'm not going to be on the whole call, but I'm here for a few minutes. If any questions come in, I'll answer.
Thank you, Dave.
Thank you, Tina.
No problem. So we're going to go back to where we were with our refinance. Once I place this information in here, if I was concerned about the debt to income ratio and I want to see it, I'm going to go to the next page, and the only thing, I'm just going to fill out the minimum information, what their current debt is or what their current gross income is, and any leftover debt that they have. I'm going to say my client has a car payment for $349 that they're not planning on paying off with this mortgage. The other information I'm not as concerned about. This is a refinance, so it's not going to impact them as much. Same thing with this information here. This is only for the client, doesn't reflect in the presentation itself. But now we move to product 1. Now the process of a refinance, it is important that you do this process in the exact order in order for your numbers to be easily manipulated. First thing I do, copy from the original. Copying from the original is going to allow me to be able to have 2 identical ones next to each other. Next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to come on down here after I copy from the original. I'm going to make it, yes, it's a refi. Now I can go in and decide. I'm going to say the first one, we're going to look at rolling it back into a 30-year fix. At this point, you'll notice it automatically pulls it to a 30-year fix. All I need to adjust is my interest rate here. And I always like to start with a basic loan, meaning the basic 30-year fix, the basic 15-year fix, something without pulling in, paying off the debt, without pulling in any of the using the principal for principal reduction or anything, but just so they can see a straight refi. Moving on down, we're going to go into our closing cost, and we're going to add in our closing cost details. So I would come in here and I would add in whichever one my refi is. Once I have my information in here, I can go through, verify, change anything that I need. If you do have closing corporate smart fees, you can use that as well to pull in the third-party fees. And once I'm happy, I'm going to apply it to the loan. If there are points being charged, I'm going to apply those points. Prepaid days of interest, I'm going to just place 5 because it's a refi. I always plan on closing them towards the end of the month. And then you'll see my hazard insurance and my property tax and the debt are in here. Now I'm going to simply add reserve months based on where we are in the time frame. So now I have a straight refi, but what you will notice is this one is having cash to close. So at this point, 9 times out of 10, you're probably going to roll that cash into the loan. So to very easily roll it to the loan, I just click back, that closing cost detail button. There is a button at the lower right corner where I add all fees to loan. I apply it to the loan. I add my points to the loan as well as my prepaids to the loan. Now when I advance forward, you'll notice it zeroes out. There is no cash to close, and it has increased my loan amount, the amount of my closing cost. Any questions from that point? And remember, it's a small enough group. If you do have a question, feel free to raise your hand. Looks like we're all good. So at this point, we start adding another product. And this is where I didn't place any points in there, but just remember, if you do place points in there, you want to make sure you're adding that to the loan. Because if I place points in there, let's say half a point, and I didn't add it to the loan, then what you would notice is down here, that money's going to show up. We want to make sure we're not having the client bring in any cash. So if I did that, I want to make sure I add those points to the loan. I'm going to go ahead and remove those points on this one. Now we're ready for our second product. Our second product, and therefore after, is always so much easier. So all you need to do is you copy from that 30-year. It has all your closing costs. Everything is in there for you. So let's look at the first option. We're just going to do a 30-year, but we're going to pay off debt with debt. So now on that 30-year with debt, we have to do 2 things. We have to add the debt into there, and we have to remove the monthly payment. So if I come down here, you'll notice that my base loan amount is here. Now there's 2 ways I can add debt. One way, I can add it as a cash out. And if I want to add it to a cash out, all I would do is increase my base loan amount. So instead of, if I'm doing $20,000 instead of $248,000, it would be $268,000. So I'm going to show you that one first. That is the only thing I would have to do. Of course, my interest rate would increase, and I probably would be at more like a 3.75. We're going to move back here and change my interest rate over here. And you'll notice quickly I am changing and moving things around here by using that jump menu. And what you'll notice now is I have cash out $20,000. So that's the first way I can do it. If I do not want to show this cash out, if I want to show zero balance because it's all handled in escrow and my clients are not getting cash back, Then I'll show you on the second one how to do that. We're going to add another product. And we're going to do 30-year with no debt. Actually, let's do 30-year payoff debt. I'm going to copy it from, again, starting that 30-year, because that's always my foundation loan. And then what I'm going to do now is I'm going to go to the second page into my closing cost detail. In my closing cost detail, there is a fee. I'm going to click add fee, clicking on that little arrow, typing in a P to get me down to the P's, and there is a payoff debt. I thought they had one underneath another one. If you don't see a payoff debt in here, you can add it as a custom fee, type in payoff debt, and just click on OK. Now what I'm going to do on this payoff debt is I'm going to put $20,000, and I want to add it to the loan amount. Applying now to the loan, what you'll see is my loan amount increases to that amount, but I do not show the cash out amount. Any questions? And again, you can raise your hand if you do have a mic. Now you'll have to unmute yourself, Camille.
Hi, how are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I just want the basic question. I noticed I was being impolite writing to panelists only, so and didn't expect to be on the spot talking. So it's just if you can repeat the couple of slides since you began with the cash out, the last couple of minutes, if you don't mind. Is that okay?
Yep, absolutely. So cash
Thank
out,
you.
and I'm just going to do it from scratch. First thing I do is I copy from the 30-year. So this one is the payoff debt one, and then I'll go back and do the cash out one too. Payoff debt, whoops, just clicked me out. We're gonna go.
So the 30-year was the 30-year one, the initial one, like not the base scenario, but the first scenario you did for the refi?
Correct, the 30-year fixed. This is always my base loan. Whatever I copy from is always from this one. So I'm gonna go back to that payoff debt. So I copied that 30-year, then simply clicking on the next button, going into my closing cost. If the fee's not in there, add the custom fee, but you want your payoff debt, placing in that debt, and then add it to the loan amount. That's going to make that loan amount increase to the 270. Apply it to the loan.
And that's a second method, other than adding to the balance from the mortgage statement 20,000.
Correct. And the difference between the two is if I just increase the loan balance, I'm going to see a cash out amount. If I add it in here, which when you're paying off credit cards and stuff,
Yes.
clients aren't seeing the money, it's handled in escrow. I don't want them to see the money here, so it's just going to be zeroed out. But the clients are going to be able to see that cash out is going towards that debt in their closing fees.
Okay, so just a visual here. Both cases, the total loan amount is above the payoff of 248 by 20,000 plus closing costs that are rolled in the loan.
Correct.
Okay, thanks a lot.
You're welcome. So let's go ahead and go to our analysis area on this one, but then we're going to come back and talk about a couple other strategies in here because there is some more that you can do to one up that competition. Oh, the one thing I did forget, because I can look here and tell really quickly that I forgot it, is removing the debt. In the monthly cost, simply go in and zero it out on those debt payoffs. So remember to move any debt that you place in there. If you want to show your client how it's impacting their debt to income ratio, This is the only spot that shows the true debt to income ratio. So what you can do is you can do a quick screenshot and screenshot it and then include this little box in the email with a little thing saying, click here for more information. So that way, or click here for the Carpenter family full presentation. So you'll be able to show them all of it, but this is going to give them just a small dive into what it is you're showing them. And you can show it was even just refinancing, it's going to be an impact, but it's a huge impact where now that 15-year is a liable choice, even paying off that debt based on how much their debt to income ratio has went down. So now I can go over here to my analysis page. And in the analysis page, property appreciation, remember, keep this conservative. This does reflect for every single year as you move forward. Short-term analysis months, I have it set at 60, and long-term analysis is shown at 15. These markers, you want to make sure you're collecting information from your client based on what their financial goals are, based on how you can help them achieve what they need to achieve. What are some of the things we look for? Of course, there's the standard white belt, when do you want to pay off your house? And a lot of times, many people use that as that long-term analysis year. But there's so many other factors that can come into play. When do you plan on retiring? When do your kids graduate from school? Do you have any life goals that you want to achieve that might have or cost a larger financial amount of money that you need to save for? Do you plan on buying other property within your life? Why do you want to purchase a home in the first place? Like, what's your plan, especially for a younger company or person? Why do you want to purchase a home in the first place? Those things are going to be able to allow you to dive in to be able to really understand what it is financially the client wants to achieve. So I'm going to say my client wants to retire in 7 years, and they're planning on buying another home in that time frame. I'm going to place both of these at 7. That's the year that I want them to really look at how is this going to impact them. When I move on down here, the benchmarks are set at current. What does the benchmark means? It means which loan the other loans are compared to. So the other loans are currently being compared to that current loan scenario. Then here, whenever I'm doing a refi where I'm showing the impact of money going in and out, I'm going to show one of them that reflects what it is based on the client's goal. So 9 times out of 10, I like showing total net worth because it's easy for me to explain. Let's go ahead and move on over. If I decided one of these wasn't an option, I can uncheck it. It doesn't show on the presentation. I cannot delete it. I can uncheck it, or I can build a different option on top of it. And finally, scrolling on down, always add your quote date. That's what protects you with those rates being in there. And then clicking on preview. We're going to show the presentation output on this one to start with. And then I'm going to go back and I'm going to show you how to add some other strategic aspects to it to make it even more exciting. So initially we're showing the current loan as compared to the other options. Monthly savings is quickly shown here. Here we can highlight that payoff amount. And then what you will notice is, and I did something wrong because there's 3.42, but what you will notice here is the freedom point. When is the loan being paid off? Now, when I was a loan officer, 9 times out of 10, I would get pushback if someone was under 20 years. And they would say, Tina, I don't want to roll it back into a 30-year. I don't want to pay all that extra interest. Well, based on this scenario, we know we're paying off debt in these two. But based on this scenario, by the time that time frame comes of 5 years, you will notice they've already saved $10,000 in interest. So they are saving the amount of interest if they plan on selling, if they plan on doing something with this loan and not keeping this and most of the time, people do not keep a loan longer than 10 years. So if that's the case, they're going to be better off by doing this in the first place. So if that's their concern, is the interest on the loan, this is where you're going to be able to show that interest on the loan. And what this does take into consideration is closing cost. So that closing cost is added in there as well. Now the monthly payment difference is showing exactly that, the difference in the payment. You can see they are saving little over $1,100 a month in that paying off the debts in both of these scenarios. Now, the one thing that would be concerning to me on here is if they plan on using or leveraging the money in the home or their net worth in order to do something, this is where they're going to come in and they're going to see they're not going to have as much net worth. Now in here, what it's not taking into consideration is we pulled in that extra $20,000 debt. But I can quickly go back and I can show them how to make sure that they still have enough net worth, if not more net worth, by doing the refinance. And that's simply by using one of two strategies. I can show them principal reduction, and we'll do principal reduction on one of them, or I can show them how to do an investment. If I am doing principal reduction, and I went back into that analysis window, if I'm doing principal reduction or investment, both of them are done in the adjust reinvestment strategy window. By clicking into here, they are both super simple to add. Number one, that 30-year with debt. Let's say I want to do principal reduction. All I do is I look here, it shows how much the difference is, the monthly savings, and I would add that money right into here. So 11, 13, 46. You'll see this becomes 0. It's the same payment now, but now instead of 19 years, my client is paying it off in 11 years. So I have just eliminated 8 years, which also means that net worth is going to be higher in that time frame. Now on that 30-year with payoff debt, let's say that we're going to one-up it. Instead of putting it into the home and doing principal reduction, I have a financial advisor I work with. This financial advisor is saying that they get on average, I'm going to say 4.75 return. So I'm going to take that 1151.69, I'm going to take it down here at the bottom, and I'm going to plug it in here. So that's the payment that they're making. The second thing I'm going to do is I'm going to put that rate of return here that they're getting. Now, this is great if you're working with a younger couple especially, because they're more likely to take more riskier financial moves. So doing that investment is better because this is a liquid account. This money is almost as good as cash. It's not as hard as taking it out of the principal of the home. If I'm working with an elderly couple that's closer to retirement, I'm probably going to go with a principal reduction. This is a safer bet. So it's not going to get as high as a yield of return. However, my client's money is placed in an account, and homes, they might go up, they might go down. I mean, we saw 2008, we saw what could happen, but we all bounce back. Homes are long-term investments for most people. The short-term investments, those are typically the people willing to take more risk. So understanding how much risk your client is willing to take is a huge factor of showing them which one of these presentations is going to be best for them too. Looks like I added an extra $1 in here. I'm going to remove that. So while I'm doing that, any questions on this refinance reinvestment strategy? And again, you're welcome to raise your hand or to drop it in the chat box, either one. Looks like we're good. We're just going to exit out of this and we're going to go back to the presentation. So now in the presentation, and something doesn't look right in here. Always look at your presentation. It'll tell you if you've done something not right. I didn't add that one back. It's at the end. There we go. So then when I come to the presentation, what you'll notice is the green and the yellow. Remember, this is the more liquid cash. This is that investment account. And here is the home. So you can now quickly see in 7 years, my clients are going to be much better off if they place that money in either one of these based on the type of client I have. So if I have that client that is closer to retirement or who is more conservative, I'm going to go with paying off the principal. I'm going to meet my client's needs and their goals and ambition by doing what's best for them. If I have that client who is younger, who is a little bit more zesty to grow that wealth and to really see how it's going to impact them, I'm going to go with this one. I'm going to place it into an investment account with an investor of their choice or someone I refer to them, which is another great referral source for you. Working with financial advisors are really great for both people because when those financial advisors do taxes every year, you can educate them. What do they look for in order to find you refinances? Or they are always the ones that see divorces first. And as sad as it is, it's a reality. With a divorce, typically comes something happening to the house, whether it's refinancing or it is selling the home and both of them either buying or renting or whatever. But something has to happen in that transaction with a divorce. So financial advisors can be really good partners to have. Yes, it is being recorded. If you want a copy of the recording, please send me an email. And I'm placing my email down in the chat box for everyone. Please send me an email requesting a copy, and that way you can get a copy of the presentation so you know you can reflect to it later. Any questions on the refi? And I pretty much covered everything unless there's something else that you have with the refi that you want me to dive into. We do have about 15 minutes, so plenty of time for me to dive in a little bit more. And again, you need to email me. I will not remember your email and I can't collect it right now. Anyone in here getting people currently selling their home and wanting to leverage the equity in their home to buy it up to a bigger home? So that's another one that's kind of similar to this that you can also do. Okay, looks like there's no questions. If you do have questions, remember there is several ways you can get assistance. We have our chat button, probably the easiest and best way to get assistance. They are fast, typically responds very timely when it says chat. If it says help, it is going to our support center to their box and their email, and they will get back to you as soon as they get back into that chat box. Or you can email them directly at support@mortgagecoach.com as well, and they will be more than happy to help you. And there is also up at the top your help button. In your help button, you can quickly type in here anything you need. So if I was doing a refi, I could type in refi. What you want to remember when using the help button is you want to look for Advice Engine. Advice Engine is what we are currently using. If it doesn't say Advice Engine, it's in our legacy version. We do have a few people still using that. So we want to make sure that we are using the version that you are currently using if you're using that Advice Engine. Remember, everyone has access to Rate Watch. If you have not already downloaded Rate Watch on your phone, go in and download Rate Watch. And Rate Watch is going to allow you to be able to see what's going on in the market. But I'm actually going to go into Facebook and show you guys. But what you also get is you get the access to be able to read the commentary. And the commentary is the best thing out there. If you're not as comfortable with the market, MBS market, highly suggest you going and you looking up Dan. If you're not part of our Facebook, I'll put that down there too. Coming in here and looking up Dan Ratwich, and he goes in and does the commentary in Mortgage Coach. He'll drop in a video every single day pretty much and goes into what's going on with the market trends. So great place for you to add some extra knowledge to your back pocket as compared to other loan officers. Any questions or anything else that you would like to see before we jump off the call? Remember, tomorrow is our and if you go in here, is our Q&A call. If you have any specific presentations you're working on, I answer all those questions live, and I will go even into your account if you want me to jump into your account. So Q&A call tomorrow if you need a little extra help. Thanks for joining me today. I hope this was useful, and I hope that you guys have a great day. Thank you again. Bye-bye.